Hi guys, our names are Mario and David, and today we are going to talk about Campo Grande, which is a park located in Valladolid. Campo Grande is a large public park located in the city center of Valladolid, Spain. It has a triangular shape and is split in two by Paseo Central. It has 113,379 square meters of surface and is limited by the Calle de la Cera de Recoletos, the Paseo de los Filipinos, and the Paseo de Zorrilla. In its surroundings, there is a square called Plaza Zorrilla, Night Academy, San Juan de Letrans Church, Eastern Museum, Colón Square, and Colón's Monument.
To know its origin, we have to go back to the Middle Ages, a time when it was a communal agriculture and livestock area. For several centuries, it served for grazing and horticulture, hosted celebrations, and even housed Napoleon's army, who came to the esplanade to review his troops in 1809. The plain was bare of trees until the 18th century. Between the years 1767 and 1780, the first transformation took place, sponsored by then corridor George Astrolic. 1,800 trees or negrillos were planted, which gave rise to the first park. After this change, the place became the favorite place for citizens to take their leisure walks without losing its previous functions, such as annual fairs and military parades. It needs more than 11 hectares of land. It houses some 70 plant species and more than 30 animal species, amongst which we can find the emblematic peacock. The peacock has become the emblematic bird of this park. It acclimatized without problem since 1930. When it was introduced as a gift to a couple. Since then, peacocks have been part of the landscape of Campo Grande and walk firstly among swans, ducks, pigeons, children, and adults. They usually sleep in the high ranges of some trees, especially cedars and chestnuts. Even each one has chosen one of these trees that they feel they own.
In this park you can see a vast amount of fountains. The most important ones are the Fountain of Fame and the Swan Fountain, also known as Mermaid's Fountain. This one is the Swan Fountain. It was initially located at Poniente's Garden, but later it was moved to Campo Grande. It has 6 mermaids, 1 swan at the top of the fountain, and finally several tritons around it. On the other hand, this fountain is a Fountain of Fame. It was built with the aim of perpetuating the memory of Miguel Iscar after his death in 1980. He was the mayor of Valladolid. However, there is a pond and a waterfall. Together they form the iconic Lake of Valladolid, where lots of families have fun in their free time. In this lake there are lots of ducks, swans, reptiles, fishes, pigeons, and birds. There is a huge park for children with a pirate boat and lots of swings and slides. Paseo del Príncipe is a wide straight street in the center of Campo Grande. It connects Puerta del Príncipe with the main gate in Plaza Zorrilla. La Faisanera is the oldest aviary in the park, and it was settled in 1940. There's a dovecote too, and it was created in 1932. Near the Fountain of Fame, there is also a large aviary with lots of birds, such as parakeets, roosters, or other exotic birds.
At the entrance, we can find a flower garden forming the coat of arms of the city, and also next to it, the flag of our country.
Now we are seeing the statue of Miguel Delibes, a poet that born in Valladolid. There are other sculptures, such as Leopoldo Cano's bust, which is located in the entrance of Paseo del Príncipe and is made with copper, Miguel Iscar bust, which is made with bronze, Núñez de Arce bust, which was a poet and it's set at the bottom of the Roses Garden. However, there are others not as important as this one, but we can finish this speech without mentioning them. These ones are the photographer of Valladolid statue, which is this one that we are now looking at it. Monument to Rosa Chacel, Neptune sculpture, plaque to Luis Gallego Martin, sculptor of the Fame, Cell with tritons, bronze cap, boy and book, beer figure, seated girl looking around, dancing bronze, and twinning with lily.
The Church of San Pablo is one of the most representative buildings in the city of Valladolid and a tourist attraction. It is located in Plaza San Pablo, where the Royal Place and the Pimentel Place are also located. It is close to the San Gregorio School, Zorias High School, and close to part of the National Museum.
It was founded in 1276 by Doña Violante. The church was rebuilt by the Bishop Fray Juan de Torquemada. In 1601, the Duke of Lerma reformed the facade and the inside. The church was damaged during the War of Independence against France. In 1968, a serious fire affected the vaults that were later rebuilt in a Renaissance style. Inside the church, there are two chapels. In one of them, Francisco de Sandoval is buried, and in the other, there is an image of Santo Domingo de Guzmán.
In the presbytery, visitors can see a Christ on the cross from the 17th century. The facade on the church is full of lions and seals, several gargoyles, and host seal of the Catholic King and Queen that cross the entire facade.
The full name of the parish is Santa María de la Antigua. And it is located in the autonomous community of Castilla y León, in the city of Valladolid, in Portugalete Square. It is one of the parishes with the most history in Valladolid. Built in the 1088, its last remodeling was in 1952. In the reign of Alfonso XI.
It is an Elizabethan Gothic-style Catholic church. This parish is divided into 4 different parts. The first one is the tower. It is Romanesque style, square-shaped. It is 50 meters high and it has 6 bells. The oldest bell is the one on the north side and is formed in 1599. Next to the oldest bell is one from the end of the 19th century, and the remaining bells are from 1914. The second part of the parish is the church. It's formed in the 14th century. It is made up of 3 naves with 2 sections and contains windows with pointed arches. The third part is a portico. It is located on the north side, formed by 14 semicircular arches and diamond points. The third part is the facade. It is from the 20th century. Contains stained glass in all windows. Also from the 20th century. It had a stone cross, and near it the poor people of the parish and those who died in the hospital of Santa Maria de Esgueva were buried.
This parish also has two Baroque altarpieces from the 17th century, dedicated to Saint Roque. In the lateral apse, in the side of the epistey, is the Christ of the Most Precious Blood, made by Genaro Lázaro Gumiel in 1953, inspired by the Christ of Juan de Juni.
Hi, I'm a Bachillerato student at the other Praves High School, and I am going to give you some information about the Cathedral of Valladolid, the place where I live. This great cathedral is located in the city center, and it was built in a large open space that goes from Echegaray Street to La Antigua. Before the current building was built, the area was very different from what it is today, and in fact the Esgueva River passed through there, and there was a bridge at one end on Calle de los Baños and another bridge at the other end, known as Las Carnicerías. Of course, this area has changed a lot on several occasions, not only with the construction of the cathedral, but also when the Esgueva was moved in the 19th century to a different place. When this project was finished, a large arch was built and a wooden market was placed in a new square. However, all these things have also disappeared. The name Portugalete appeared for the first time in the plans of Valladolid in 1788 as a square next to Plaza de la Libertad. At that time, it was called Plazuela de la Villería, and it took them more than 90 years to finish a small part of what was all the cathedral due to an economic crisis. When entering the cathedral, it looks much bigger than it does on the outside, so I recommend that tourists have the opportunity to see it from the inside. To sum up, I recommend this very beautiful place in the center of the city. For example, to sit on a bench and enjoy the beauty of the old church, called the Antigua in Spanish, and the cathedral. Also, you could get some fresh air and sunbathe while you are reading a book or listening to music or calling up your friends.
The National Museum of Sculpture, belonging to the Ministry of Culture of Spain, is a Spanish museum located in the heart of Valladolid. It houses sculpture from the late Middle Age to the beginning of the 19th century, as well as a certain numbers of high-quality painting, Rubens, Zurbarán, or Mendelez, among others. It is the most important Spanish sculpture collection in the peninsula and one of the most outstanding in Europe.
It is one of the oldest Spain museums. It was set on October 1842 as the Provincial Museum of Fine Art. Its collection was made up of works of art from last of convents closed in 1836 by the liberal regime was the Palace of Santa Cruz in Valladolid, its first location.
It brings together a collection of many work art made up of two groups, religion work in polychrome wood from the 13th to 19th centuries, and the set of artist copies from the 19th and 20th centuries, from the former National Museum, an Arctic reproduction.
If you just visit Valladolid, you shouldn't forget to visit this awesome and outstanding museum.
Hello, I'm Oscar and I'm going to talk about Paseo Zorrilla. The Paseo Zorrilla in Valladolid is the main artery of the city. Plaza Zorrilla is a central square in the city of Valladolid that is the starting point of Paseo Zorrilla. For centuries, Plaza Zorrilla was called Puerta del Campo. Calvary Weapon Academy was installed in the city in 1852 in a building that had been the prison. When its original building caught fire, it was decided to build the current one, which was built in 1921 and inaugurated by the King and Queen of Spain. It's a beautiful place of Paseo Zorrilla. Campo Grande is a public park in the city of Valladolid. Campo Grande includes garden and 3 walks or halls parallel. Over the centuries, a large number of festivities of all kinds have been held, for example, concerts or parties. The Military Hospital is an old hospital in the city of Valladolid. It was built between 1930 and 1933. It had several pavilions that housed the different health specialties. Remember, if you visit Valladolid, don't forget to go Paseo Zorrilla. Thanks.
Here, in our city, Valladolid, many famous writers have lived, as Miguel Delibes, Miguel de Cervantes, José Zorrilla. In fact, in April, we celebrate the Books Fair, in which people can buy and sell different books.
Miguel Delibes is a Spanish writer. He was born in 1920 in Valladolid and he died in 2010 because of a colon cancer. He studied law, commerce and journalism and worked for a well-known Spanish newspaper. He had 7 children with her wife, Ángeles de Castro. He was granted with a great quantity of awards because of the narrative fiction books and essays he wrote. He achieved his literary recognition because of the book El Camino, which means the path, written in 1950. His last major work, the one that we are gonna talk about, is El Hereje, published in 1988. He was awarded with the National Fiction Prize because of this book, which was a tribute to Valladolid, as its plot is placed in a 16th century Valladolid. This is Miguel Delibes' house.
Here, in the major square, faith judgments were done. The condemned passed through Santiago Street to the major square, where they were judged.
This is St. Paul's Square. Near here, in Angustias Street, the main character, Cipriano Salcedo, was born. He was baptized in this church, St. Paul's Church.
This is an old convent, St. Catalina de Siena Convent. Characters such as San Enriquez spread messages about Protestantism from here.
Here we have one of the most important museums of Valladolid, the Science Museum. It opened in May of 2003. It's one of the most important scientific divulgation centers of the region.
But most importantly, there's a McDonald's right next to it.
For this video, we are visiting the most interesting ones, the part dedicated to energy and especially the part dedicated to maths.
This museum has plenty of different expositions. Some of them are permanent and some of them are temporary. One of the most iconic elements of the Science Museum is this huge DNA chain. This is the start of the energy exposition.
Here, we have a representation of the periodic table, with a sample of each element. Let's hope we are lucky today and nothing is too radioactive, so we don't turn into, I don't know, Spider-Man or something. Well, but it's pretty cool, isn't it? It's interactive.
It's also really interesting how water bottles can combine each other to make beautiful songs like this. Do you recognize it?
As well as many interesting things, you can see a few weird ones. Say hi to Mr. We Are Water, definitely an original way to show we are made of water, isn't it?
Now it's the time to go to the maths exposition.
The museum offers you a challenge. You have to pass through every single one of the bridges and you have to go back to the place where you started. But you can go through any of them more than once. Seems easy, right? Well, thanks to graph theory, it's actually impossible. It seems you're out of luck this time, mate. Bad luck.
Theoretically, when balls fall into a hole like this, they should create a parabola like this one. In real life, it may fail, but when it doesn't, it's nearly perfect.
Do you know why the theorem of Pythagoras is the way it is? Here you can see a visual demonstration. As you can see, the addition of the square of the short sides equals the square of the hypotenuse.
This puzzle is amazing. The rules are simple. You have to move the complete tower of circles to the other side of the table, but you can only take one circle at a time. And any circle can't be below a bigger one. This is my solution.
Come on, place your bets for this peculiar race. Isn't this exciting? Who do you think will take the prize? The winning ball, the red one, or maybe the orange one? Which school will take the ball quicker to the finish line? Well, actually, this game is a little predictable. the winner will always be the same, and as the 3 balls are identical except for the color, it depends only on the path. Can you guess which path is the best one?
Have you ever wondered why wheels are circles and not squares? Well, people from the Science Museum have. This is a squared wheel tricycle and it works on a certain type of road, but it does. So this is the end of our trip into the Science Museum, but look, we have found an old friend.
We hope you have enjoyed this video. Make sure to visit our friend Einstein and Mr. We Are Water the next time you come to our city.
The need to improve communication routes led to the arrival of the first railway in Valladolid in 1860, which boosted the communication of this city and its trade, and provoked the construction of a more solid and stable metallurgical sector, converting Valladolid in the main railway nucleus of the peninsular north. In 1895, the actual station was inaugurated, although before there was another located in the present bus station, the Campo de Bejar station. The current station, better known as Estación del Norte, is so named because the railway that passed through it headed for France, in the direction of northern Spain.
The only requirement that you had to meet to work there was being over 18 years old and under 35 years old. Also, you had to know how to read and how to write, and you would have to take a general culture test since you have to have a minimum training to be able to work in this sector. In addition, working there meant having privileges that didn't exist before, such as the right to social security or salary increases. All of this depending on the work you had at the station and how efficient you were. The workforce grew from 50 people to more than 100 in only 30 years, which shows how much this sector has grown in recent decades. Thanks to the arrival of the railway, a small French colony settled in Valladolid, which increased interest in the French among the people of Valladolid. What is more, this building conforms to a French model that was imposed by the company itself. If we compare the stations of Valladolid with French ones, we can observe certain similarities. After the Civil War, the government nationalized the railway, inaugurating the Renfe company. A curiosity is that the first train that arrived in Valladolid in 1860 came from Burgos and had more than 56 wagons. It caused such a stir that the people of Valladolid came out to welcome it, and this was because the locomotive had been baptized Valladolid in honor of our city.